Good morning, everyone. Brian here with BMK Retro Gaming. Let's see. This morning we have the Atari VCS 2600 Original Library review of RealSports Baseball. Now, back in 1978, Atari had released Home Run Baseball, which was, I don't remember all the details, but I remember it was programmed by and developed by somebody who wasn't very familiar with the sport, wasn't considered very good, got mostly negative reviews. And maybe that might not have been the biggest deal in the world, but I mean, it was in the early days of the original library anyway. But then, I forget the exact timeline, but Mattel had come out with the Intellivision home video game console lines first, the Mattel Intellivision 1, and they started airing commercials with George Plimpton, who was pretty well known then, who, I forget what the name was, but one of the first games that they contrasted in their sports genre was their baseball game, one of the first they had, with Home Run Baseball, with Home Run. And really contrasted, Home Run didn't seem so great. I'll grant Mattel, they went the more family-friendly route for the most part. And most of their early sports genre games, with a few exceptions, were multiplayer only. You had to have a second player, whereas even Home Run you could play in a single-player mode, but still, overall, the Intellivision game seemed like the much better game, and technically was. This prompted Atari to reevaluate their sports genre games some, and deciding they could do better. Well, they started the RealSports line of games. We've seen early on in my one of my earlier reviews that I had reviewed RealSports Volleyball, which is a very good volleyball game, though I know maybe not everybody's crazy about volleyball. Anyway, in 1982, RealSports Baseball was developed. I have my cartridge here. Unfortunately, I got it locally, and whoever did it stuck the label on the front instead of on the back of the cartridge. Along with a lot of you guys, I really hate that, but I'm not going to peel it off or anything. Don't want to risk damaging the cartridge label itself. Maybe one day it'll finally weaken enough that it'll peel off on its own, but in the meantime, I just leave it as is. Forgive that glare. Now here it says like the later Atari 7800 port that was made in 88. No, it was made in 82. They just, after a while, started using some of the same labels. One of the other reasons, excuse me, got a bit of a tickle in my throat, for this would have also been that there were other versions. The original versions of RealSports Baseball were a little bit glitchy or so, and thus they had redone them in some later runs. So, mine doesn't seem to have much of any real glitches in it, or if it does, it's only very minor stuff. So I'm guessing mine might be part of one of the later run releases. This game also goes as one of the later releases that is considered a fair improvement by the name Super Baseball. So anyway, this is a pretty good baseball game. Personally, I had decided. Excuse me, need to get a little bit of screen's a little bit messy on the camera. Now, those who tend to watch my unboxing videos would know I recently, not too long ago, received a copy of the Atari 7800 port of the game. And since I'd already picked up a local copy, and this one technically did come first, being from 82, I figured it only makes sense to go ahead and throw this one up for review first. Anyway, it plays pretty well. Let me see. I want to tilt over there. Got my notes. For Atari Incorporated, back then, it was developed by Jim Andreessen. I think that's how you'd say it. Andreason. and Keith Hayenga, Keithan Hayenga, Hayenga. And of course in 1982, and I think they did a pretty good job for what they did. Now, I don't have a copy of the instruction manual, so I wrote it down here. We're going to go over it real quick. The game variations there are 4 of them. The first is, one is a 2-player game with the left player being the outfielding player and the right player being the batter. 2 is a 2-player variation with the left player at bat and the right player at outfield. 3 is a 1-player variation where you start in the outfield, but the batter can't hit balls. And 4 is a 1-player variation where you would start at bat as the player and the batter can't hit balls. Now, by can't hit balls, I used to think at first it meant, oh, you can't hit pitches or something. And then I'm like, after I played it for a while, I realized, no, that's not it. A straight pitch that would count as a strike, if you missed it usually, you can hit any of those. But if it's thrown as a ball, something that would technically be outside the strike zone, no, neither side can hit those. But both you and the computer can hit hit anything that would come down as a strike. Okay, there's not too much else to know. When you're at bat, the upper right, by pulling on your joystick is how you control your batting. And if you press or pull in upper right, the upper right corner, you will hit to right field. Doing left will hit to left field. And a fly ball right to the upper right. Oh, I mean that the upper left would be a left field fly ball, and to the upper right to the I'm getting kind of the first one I told you about, the right field fly ball, that's correct. The left field fly ball would be the opposite, the upper left. And a fly ball right, you'd hit okay, let me start that part over. I just read it a bit wrong what I had written down. For a bunch, you would push straight forward. For a fly ball left field fly ball, you would press upper left, just straight left. To the right for a fly ball right. And then for a fly ball left, you'd pull down to the left and to the right, down right for a fly ball intended to the right. And then for just a straight fly ball that has a chance of taking off and being a home run, you would just pull straight back. Then pitching is pretty simple too. When you're up at pitching, you basically have to kind of program it a bit. I think that's kind of by pulling the joystick back at first to center everything once your ball is with the pitcher. But then you press the button, and for a fastball, you pull up. And then press for your pitch. For a sinker, it's right. Left for a riser. And an intentional ball, it's down. So it's not too complicated on all that, really. But anyway, I think we may have time. I'm not sure if we'll play a full game or not because it takes about 20 to 30 minutes. But I'm going to get set up with my Hyperkin Retron 77 emulation hardware clone console, which does play this one quite easily. And we're going to take a look at the gameplay. Okay, so here we go. I've got her set up pretty good, and hopefully this ought to work just fine. Let's see, give it just a little bit more game volume because I want it to be so low. I usually like to start off with game variation 3 because on defense, you have a better odds of getting things done real good. As we can see, there's at least a bit of flicker on the screen. Not too bad, but it could be better. Let me check something here, make sure everything will work like I need it to. And, sometimes the controllers don't respond quite the way you want them to all the way, and that can mess you up, so. Okay, there we go. Hyperteam Retron 77 is not always too finicky about that, but it can be on occasion. I usually tend to just try to throw fastballs to him. Because a lot of times they'll swing at those anyway, so. There's one out. One reason why I oftentimes stick with the fastball is because, well, they tend to hit in a certain way once you do that, so. And the computer AI opponent can be a bit brutal in terms of they will not give you an easy time of it. Okay, so he's got a run in, not a big deal. Two runs in. It's going to be ahead of me by a bit here, but it won't be so bad. There we go. You can kind of tell that there are a little bit different tones for the sound of a ball that's going to be a grounder and one that's going to be a fly ball, so. It's a bit different. And you can't really tell about the strike zone very well, so it's hard to tell if you've got a ball or a strike coming in for sure. Oh man, strike me out on that one. Darn, and a one-run hit, one-run play. I mean, yeah, he got me before I could get moving. Can't get him to move. Come on. There we go. George just wanted to be a bit finicky about it right there. Still want to be a bit finicky about it. Oh, right, I have to press the button to get him go. That's what it was. It wasn't even my controller. Silly me. This is another thing they'll do sometimes. They will, the computer AI team will sometimes toss the ball around for a bit with, why, I don't know. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, so he's got the field on it. And we're still doing okay on time, so. come on. There's another little one thing. Might be where I've got this positioned. This long cord, sometimes just the way that you've got it positioned can be enough to give this thing a bit of trouble with it. There we go. Just throwing pure balls. I don't like having to hit those, so that wasn't going to get me anywhere. So one of the things with these particular controls, they happen to be pretty bad about, the Trooper controllers aren't bad, but with the really long cords, they can be kind of difficult at times. Damn it. Well, he's got 3 runs in. 4. 5. I could still get him on that one though. Probably missed him. 6. There we go. Actually, on occasion, that managed to get a double play going here, but it takes a bit of skill to figure out how to do that right, so not so easy. You have to really watch because it's hard to tell when he's throwing a straight strike for you or not. Okay, so I got another run back. I had kind of mentioned when I, in my Atari 2600 Facebook group, that I managed to finally conquer on this one. Well, it was only win by about 6 runs, but that's after you've really lost to the computer AI so many times, it feels like you've kind of conquered even for just getting him by that much. Good luck catching that, you idiot. Halfway caught up with him now. You can also hit the grounder and stuff and all, and sometimes get a bit better caught up, but I found going for the straight-up home run is one of the easiest ways to bat out with him if you can manage to hit the ball. Just works easier. That's the other thing, when they're running bases, you have to always pull the joystick to the right and press the button to get him to run. The same thing for if you want him to try to steal a base if you got one on. Oh, that was late. And that's the end of that. Okay, my controls are still working smooth, so that's all good. So you pull something with it. Ha! Got him. Not even get one on this time. Darn, threw to the home by mistake. Oh well. See, by pitching him the fastballs like that, he will keep trying to hit it pretty much the same way as he was. Not on my controls that time, he just doesn't want to try to hit it. Throw you, bold gimlet. Try it. No, that wasn't going to work the way I hoped. Oh well. At least he didn't score on me this time. Oh darn, no running to force out at second, so that wasn't going to work. Wrong way, so yeah, he did get one more run ahead, but that's okay. Got him. Ah! Come on, let me have one. How am I striking out that much? Oh, that was quick. Darn, wrong way. Oh well. So other thing that's still a bit off here is, your outfielders, they will get the ball on occasion, but a lot of times you have to rely on your infielders to do everything. Darn, threw the wrong deadgum base. Oh well. There's one out. Darn. Got another run in. Two. Darn, he's got one more run on me. Crud. Not this time. It is also possible to accidentally send a ball out to the as a foul, though it doesn't happen much. There he goes again, playing around with it. Bye. Stupid. Swung too early. Well, he got me. You know, we're not probably going to get to 9 innings without this going to a two-parter, and I really would prefer not to have that happen. Let's just say the computer AI managed to overcome me again on this one. I think you guys get a pretty good idea of the gameplay by now anyway. Okay, so that was RealSports Baseball, an original library game for the Atari VCS 2600. It's pretty good, better than Home Run. I think hardly anybody would disagree with that. And you guys can see the computer AI is still tough, but I did start to catch him. I was only 2 runs away, and if we'd had more time for me to keep it going, I might have actually managed to overcome him, but just didn't want to split this into a two-parter, knowing how my phone will do that if it runs for something over a half hour or so. Anyway, I do have a few recommendations and links for you guys. The first is Pets' Gym 1. And then there's The Worst Player in the World Playing Games. Atari Man 71. He actually has this in one where he's got, it's the second that he reviews out of 3, and it's pretty good. Though he's kind of more confused and lost in trying to play the game than some might be, but he gives it a good go, and I can't blame him for trying. And the Atari 2600 channel. Phil, the No Swear Gamer, who has an excellent one on this one, of course. And, of course, one of my other preferred YouTubers and friends, His Royal Highness High Retro Game Lord. His is pretty short, but it's pretty okay. He kind of has more of a double thumbs down on the game. He didn't like it too well. I do, but, you know, we're all going to feel how we do about him and such, you know, so. I'll also go ahead and leave you guys a link to the Wikipedia article for those who might care to read up a bit further on it. A big shout out to my Atari 2600 Facebook group. Love you guys over there. My friends Steve Markle, Thomas Rogers, Patrick E. Henry, Mr. Postile, a whole lot of guys who I know and am friends with and who are at times also fellow compatriots or comrades in the being a YouTuber or content creator. Video gaming, retro gaming YouTuber, content creator. Well, you know, there's a lot in there, so big shout out to you guys, and you should hopefully get this before too terribly long. I did start this video, I slept in a little bit later than I usually would for the time I like to get up and start these things, so it might be a little bit later than usual, but I don't think it'll be too bad. Anyway, I should have a homebrew, pro brew, or prototype game review coming up again this upcoming Sunday, so be on the lookout for that. Haven't picked out yet, but I'll go ahead and get an announcement post up so you guys can see what it's going to be. No spoilers, of course. You know me. If you enjoy my channel's content, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and please don't hesitate to leave any questions, comments, or suggestions in the comments section down below. You guys take care, have a wonderful Wednesday, and I will see you again hopefully on Sunday, if not a bit before.